Okay. Sorry. Hmm. Pasti kali ya. Tes. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We're from Group 4 from class 11 IPA 1. We would like to present our work about analytical exposition text. So, before we begin, let us introduce ourselves first. My name is Muhammad Zahran Rizky Primanda.
My name is Cahaya Pratiwi Nugroho.
My name is Abdullah.
My name is Davita Yerhana.
Okay, thank you. So, here are some contents that we will talk about in our presentation. So, the first is definition. What is the analytical exposition text? And next is the social function. What is the purpose of this text? Is this type of text? And then the generic structure, and then the language features, the example and the analysis, and there are some examples of topics and the titles, and the last is conclusion. Okay, the first material. So, definition.
Yeah, the first is definition. What is definition from analytical exposition is the analytical exposition is a text that elaborates the writer's opinion on phenomena or issues happening around him or her. Jadi singkatnya ini analytical exposition text berisi pemikiran penulis tentang hal-hal yang terjadi di sekitarnya penulis. Nah, next ada tujuannya dari analytical exposition text. Social functionnya itu to persuade the reader or listener that there is an important and correct matter that continually needs to get attention. Singkatnya, tujuan dari analytical exposition ini yakni untuk meyakinkan pembaca bahwa topik yang dihadirkan adalah topik yang penting untuk dibahas. Next. Nah, di sini ada generic structure-nya. Di generic structure-nya is there 3 points. Yang pertama ada thesis. The thesis is the section that tells the reader about the main topic and the author's point of view. Thesis can always be found in the first paragraph of the text. Jadi tesis ini, pada bagian ini tesis adalah bagian yang memberitahu pembaca tentang topik utama dan sudut pandang penulis. Tesis selalu bisa kamu temukan di paragraf pertama teks. Nah, yang kedua, the arguments. Arguments are opinions to support the main topic that has been presented previously. Usually in analytical exposition, there are more than 2 arguments. The more arguments presented, the more readers will believe that the topic discussed is an important topic or requires attention. The opinions described in the argument section must relate to what was said in the previous section. Jadi, argumen ini di paragraf selanjutnya kamu bisa menemukan bagian argumen. Argumen adalah pendapat untuk mendukung topik utama yang telah disampaikan sebelumnya. Biasanya dalam analytical exposition text ini terdapat lebih dari 2 argumen. Semakin banyak argumen yang ditampilkan, pembaca akan semakin percaya bahwa topik yang dibahas adalah topik yang penting atau membutuhkan perhatian. Terus yang terakhir ada reiteration. Nah, reiteration ini is an reaffirmation of the text of the author's position and opinion on the main topic. Reiteration is also often referred to as the conclusion. We can use the following phrase to make conclusion in reiteration. From the fact above, I personally believe, therefore my conclusion is, in conclusion. Jadi, setelah bagian tesis dan argumen sudah dipaparkan, tentu saja ditutup dengan kesimpulan atau reiteration. Bagian ini selalu terletak di akhir teks dan menjadi paragraf penutup tulisan. Reiteration adalah penegasan kembali posisi dan pendapat penulis terhadap topik utama. Reiteration juga sering disebut sebagai conclusion, yang mana artinya adalah kesimpulan. Nah, next.
And then we are going to language feature. Like other text, the language feature of this text, they are only general. Artinya, teks ini memiliki language feature yang umum. Not all of them must contain these elements. The language feature of this text include the following. Yang pertama itu using simple present tense. Simple present tense ini memiliki rumus subject plus verb 1 plus object or complement. Yang kedua ada use word that link argument such as firstly, secondly, in addition, furthermore. Jadi terdiri dari link argumen yang terdiri dari pertama, kedua, dan seterusnya. Yang ketiga itu using passive voice. Using voice ini kata kerja pasif yang memiliki rumus yaitu subject plus verb 3, subject plus to be, and verb 3. And then using relational process or linking verbs such as be, is, am, are, was, were, feel, indicate, become, refer to, and exactly. Nah, ini menggunakan proses relasional atau kata kerja penghubung. Contohnya be, is, am, are, feel, menunjukkan, jadi, dan lain-lain. Then using internal and causal conjunction such as although, result, because, by, consequently, therefore. Jadi menggunakan kata kerja kausal atau sebab akibat. Contohnya ada although, as a result, because, and exactly. Using compound and complex sentence. Jadi menggunakan kalimat majemuk atau kalimat kompleks dan kompleks. Using evaluative language such as effective, successful, valuable, important, exactly. Menggunakan bahasa evaluatif, contohnya efektif, sukses, berharga, penting, dan lain-lain. Next.
Okay. Juvenile delinquency factor in students. I think juvenile delinquency in students are in a portrait. It often happens around us. Factors such as the occurrence of juvenile delinquency, family, friendship or association, and electronic media. First, the family is the main factor of its happening juvenile delinquency. Broken family is not harmonious, causing a child to perform actions that are not in accordance with the norms. But it can also be caused by the poverty of the family and lack of religious knowledge of family. Second, the association is the next factor of juvenile delinquency. Association is causing friends can determine the quality of the student. If a student causes the wrong friend, then he will not cause any action according to the rules. This happens so often among teenagers who are familiar with drugs, cigarettes, and others. The latter, the electronic media, become juvenile delinquency factor because it has been used incorrectly. Through this medium, students can find out various acts of violence such as fake or bonds between groups. Of the above facts, we as students can avoid delinquency of this factor and try to be a good teen. Okay, next. Analisisnya itu, first, Generic structure. In generic structure, the theses are in paragraph 1, and the arguments they are paragraph 2 until 4, and the last one reiteration in paragraph 5. Next, social function. To convince readers the juvenile delinquency is important to discuss or get attention. Next. Language features. First, using simple present tense. It often happens around us. 2. Using passive voice. It has been used incorrectly. 3. Use words that link arguments. First, the family is blah 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 blah. 4. Using evaluative language. I think juvenile delinquency in students are inappropriate. Next. Uh, 5. Using relational process or linking verb. The electronic media become juvenile delinquency factor. 6. Using internal and causal conjunction because it has been used incorrectly. 7. Using compound and complex sentence. If a student causes the wrong friend, then he will not cause any action according to the rules.
Okay, then we are going to example of topic and titles. Jadi contoh topik buat analytical exposition ini ada beberapa macam contohnya. Yang pertama, school. Does school serve a useful purpose? Apakah sekolah melayani tujuan yang berguna? Nah, di situ si penulis ini memaparkan pendapatnya. Mengapa, apakah sekolah itu memaparkan tujuan yang berguna buat si siswa itu. Terus, ada teknologi. Television is educational. Apakah televisi itu beredukasi atau berpendidikan atau pantas memang disiarkan. Yang ketiga, three, and then social fenomena sosial. Contohnya, how teens addicted to smoking. Bagaimana remaja kecanduan terhadap rokok. Next.
So the last one is conclusion. In conclusion, analytical exposition text is a text that contains the author's view of a phenomenon that is equipped with several arguments, without intending to influence the readers to agree or to do something. These texts give more confidence to the reader that the topics discussed are indeed important and need to be discussed together. Jadi teks ini tuh berisi sebuah pandangan dari autor atau penulis tentang suatu fenomena yang tujuannya untuk lebih fokus ke memberikan pembaca ini bahwa topik ini tuh penting buat dibahas lagi, penting untuk dipertimbangkan. Ya. Sorry ya.
Okay, that's all for our groups.
Sebelum. Ya, selanjutnya gimana how to distinguish analytical exposition text from other text. Jadi, bagaimana cara membedakan teks analytical exposition dengan teks lainnya. Jadi, yang pertama itu kita lihat judulnya. Look at the title. Analytical exposition text usually use titles such as the importance of, why is something good, how, should, etc. Jadi biasanya teks analytical exposition text itu judulnya tuh ikonik ya, pakai kata-kata yang telah saya sebutkan tadi. Terus selanjutnya, read the text carefully, pay attention to the elements. Baca teksnya dengan benar. Kita lihat elemen-elemennya, lalu review the structure. Are there any arguments or view of the author regarding the issues discussed? Jadi lihat strukturnya, apakah ada berisi argumen-argumen oleh author tentang isu yang kita bahas. Then review the language. Is there a word that contains the arguments to one another? Lihat kebahasannya, apakah yang paling ikonik tuh lihat di tiap paragraf tuh ada kata-kata penghubung argumen nggak, kayak firstly, secondly gitu. Next, is there a conclusion to the arguments he conveys? Jadi di akhir-akhir tuh ada kesimpulan nggak, ada pernyataan ulang terhadap argumen yang dia sampaikan atau tidak. And next is find out the purpose of the text. Setelah kita baca dengan benar, kita cari tahu tujuan teks ini dibuat tuh untuk apa. And the last one, conclude. Are all the elements of the text in accordance with the elements of the analytical exposition text? Kita lihat nih, apa unsur-unsur tadi tuh sama nggak kayak ciri-ciri analytical exposition text. Oke. Selanjutnya, kita akan membahas tentang analytical exposition text dan hortatory exposition. So, besides analytical exposition text, there is also what is called hortatory exposition text. Both are quite similar. The difference between these two lies in their structure. Jadi selain analytical exposition itu ada juga namanya hortatory exposition. Keduanya mirip, cuman perbedaannya ada di struktur mereka. So, how can you distinguish the analytical exposition with the hortatory exposition? Gimana sih cara bedainnya? So, the function of both is quite different. In analytical exposition, reiteration is used to give emphasis of the writer's opinion by the starting point of view, while in a hortatory exposition, recommendation is used to give advice or such a suggestion to the readers that to make a choice by considering the presented arguments. Jadi kalau di analytical exposition text itu menggunakan reiteration atau conclusion untuk memberi pernyataan kembali tentang opini si author. Sedangkan kalau di hortatory exposition itu di bagian terakhirnya menggunakan rekomendasi. Jadi apa saran yang diberikan oleh author gitu. Oke. So, thank you for listening. We've done. Thank you.
Presentation. That's all for us. And thank you for listening.
Oke. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oke. Ada kredit.
Bye.
Ada kredit. Nggak apa-apa.